So for this video on chapter 9, I will going to make a tutorial for this chapter on transport layer, and I think it's better to create a tutorial using activities. So what I going to do is I will make an activity. I will answer some of the activities on this chapter with some explanation. So without further ado, let's do this and let's go. Okay, in this activity, we're going to distinguish or to know the characteristics of TCP and UDP delivery method. It's a drag and drop activity, so we're going to drag here, there, or here, and check the answer if it's correct. Now, let's start. First is less overhead. TCP has a 16-bit header, which is much bigger than UDP. Because UDP has only 8 bit of header, so it's be less overhead. Then connectionless. On TCP, it should have a good established connection between the sender and receiver to successfully deliver the messages. While on UDP, it's a fast transmission, and it also didn't have a con- connection to the receiver. Example, the sender doesn't have a connection to the receiver. That's how UDP works. So it is connectionless. Next is fast transmission requirements. UDP is much faster on delivery. Its process much faster than TCP. So it's fast transmission requirement. Sequence message segment. Sequence message segments is for TCP. Why? Because TCP the message on TCP is is on sequence. On example, I send a message. I send a message to someone, and he received it. The message is uh he or she received my message on sequence. Example, I send two messages, and he or she or my sender will receive it on sequence. Yung tamang pagkakasunod-sunod. Then, no acknowledgement of receipt. It is for UDP. It's because TCP, if the sender sends a message to the receiver will send acknowledgement message that the receiver was already received the message. While UDP, if the sender sent a message to the receiver will simply accept it and nothing in return. Next is no order delivery. No order delivery is UDP. Is for UDP. Why? It's because UDP, you send message through a delivery method UDP. Um, the message can be interchanged. Like if I send my first message and if I send 5 messages, the fifth messages can be the first one to send, then the fourth will the next one to send, and it's not in order. The message can be interchanged on the process of the delivering the message. Next is guaranteed delivery. Guaranteed delivery is for TCP. It is because TCP it is more reliable delivery method than UDP. So the message will be guaranteed to be delivered to the receiver. The sender can guarantee that the message that the sender sent to the receiver will be received by the receiver. Next is flow control, because the TCP um, is more organized delivery method than the UDP. And next is order delivery. Like I said a while ago, TCP, UDP doesn't need in UDP the messages order can be interchanged through the process, while TCP, uh, if you send a message, the receiver will receive it by how you send the message to the receiver. Next is session establishment. Um, um, TCP and TCP delivery method. Two computer the two computer has must have a established connection or strong connection for the messages send send accordingly to what the sender want. Example, if I have a great connection to the other host computer, if I send a message in order, the computer will able to receive those messages in order. So you need to your on TCP it needs to have a session establishment. Unlike UDP, it's a connectionless delivery method. So that's all for this activity. I hope you learned something. So goodbye and peace. Okay, on this video we are going to do an activity. It's called Part 1 TCP connection and termination process. And this one we will going to use three-way handshake of TCP establishment session. And it's a drag and drop appropriate place in which illustrate the three-way handshake of TCP establishment session. This is a three-way handshake of TCP establishment session, which this is the host A and this is the host B. Host A sends synchronization to host B, and the host B will receive it, and also and oh no, and the host B will receive it, and host B will also send synchronization with an acknowledgement to host A. Acknowledgement means it will tell the receiver that that host for that host already received the message from the first message from the host A, and the host B here it will going to send a synchronization with acknowledgement to host A, and host A will receive the scene and acknowledgement, and the host A also will going to send an acknowledgement, and it will be received by the host B. Let's check. It's correct. Now, on the next, this is the first figure or first part of the activity, and this will be the second part. This is the termination, a four-step process of TCP termination session. So, the host A sends fin to host B, so host B will receive fin, and the host B will going to send an acknowledgement to host A to let host A know that host B host B had received the message. So host A will receive acknowledgement, and then also the host B will send Fin to the host A. So the host A will receive it, and the host A will also send an acknowledgement to host B to let host B know that host A had already received its message. Let's check if it's correct. It is correct. So I hope you understand something on this video. This is all about TCP connection and termination process, three-way handshake, and of course the process for termination. The three-way handshake is for establishment session. So thank you for watching. I hope you like it, and peace.